ITC training on how to complete your logbook as an accredited student with Pilates ITC. Excuse me. So I'm going to get started here. We're just going to navigate through the logbook itself. You'll notice there are parts in the logbooks, and we will go through each part. You'll notice as well that there are colours in the logbook, and those colours, if you cannot see colour, it will look like a shading hopefully to you. If you can't see that, please reach out to our student support team and we can get that fixed so that you are able to see it if you cannot. And these coloured parts or shaded parts are very key areas which are required for your completion as you work your way through the book. So we highly recommend the first thing that you do once you print your logbooks is put your name, contact number and email in there just in case they're ever lost and people can return them to you. You'll be able to print your logbooks from the knowledge base library or from the LMS, which feeds you through to the knowledge base library, and these will be able to be printed and accessed at any time really. So if you have any problems with that, please reach out to our student support team who can assist you. But if you are in this video, you are very likely to be in either the LMS or the Learning Management System or the Knowledge Base Library already. So we're going to move on from this. Part 2 is your supervisor declaration and feedback. So this is a critical piece which we often have questions around. Who can be a supervisor? I am doing another video for that which you can go through, but plainly a supervisor is someone who is overseeing indirectly or directly your teaching or observation hours, who have a qualification in the Pilates industry. You can have a minimum of one supervisor up to as many as you want, which this form allows. So each person needs to just sign once to have that to make that declaration, and then we move on from there into the supervisor feedback section, and the supervisor feedback section will be something that you choose one of those supervisors for at the very end of your logbooks, who may be able to further comment on what they've seen you do in your teaching. If you haven't really had someone that specifically seen you teach, we do cover that more in the supervisor video, so please check that out, and it will go through in further detail. We also have more information on the knowledge base library around supervisors, who they can be, and so forth. We do have the option, if you don't have access for whatever exceptional reason to a work placement studio and supervisors, for you to gain insurance, and you can do your teaching from home. However, this is mainly, we recommend this in an exceptional circumstance, because obviously the value of having someone oversee your work is really good. So having that indirect or direct feedback will be beneficial to you. Sorry, it's going the wrong way. So yes, we need to make sure that all the points are that are in the beige colour are completed. You'll notice these two sections down here are not in beige. They are optional. If the supervisor doesn't fill them out for you, that's okay. We've got those pre-submission checkpoints each time. We encourage you to go through those and make sure that you've filled out everything properly, that there is no blank spots, there's nothing left unturned, because when it comes through to us, we may have to reject your submission if there are missing pieces, just because we are an RTO and this piece is a formal assessment and we do require all parts to be completed correctly. Part 3 goes into your teaching log. You will notice on the right hand corner over here is your teaching hours. You'll be able to go into the knowledge base library under your specs and be able to see how many teaching hours you should be completing for your course. So if you've got any queries on that, check out the video on how to find your teaching hours, which is coming soon, or if not already there, and that will be able to help you navigate. There's units of competency listed here, which as an accredited student with Pilates ITC, we are required to make sure that we see all the performance criteria that sits under those units of competency, and that's what this logbook is doing. So you'll see here in the first section that it says, obviously, I'll just go back up. Obviously, you're filling out all of this information here as per the questions to the left. But then the instructions of what to do and how to fill it out is here. The performance criteria number 1 to 54 below only require a minimum of 2 instances to be ticked across the total of your teaching hours. So you'll see here there's some performance criteria. We have an example. This person has completed this performance criteria on the first time they've taught and on the 13th time they've taught. And that's the minimum of 2 instances where they have actually done that performance. And yeah, it might be different times. It might be 3 or 4 times, and you can fill that out as many times as you need that you've done that performance criteria, so long as it's just done a minimum of twice. So that's throughout all questions number 1 to 54. Then we get down to questions 55 to 57 here, and the instructions say the performance criteria 55 to 57 below need to be performed and ticked every time you teach. And there's an example here where you need to tick across all of these boxes every time you teach. And we'll be needing to see that upon your submission. There's a cumulative time spent teaching so that you can keep track of the number of hours. If you don't fill up all 30 columns because you've hit 30 column 24 because it's cumulative, that's fine. We just need to see the total hours of 30 that you've done. Some students go and teach for 3 hours at a time. Here we've got the student declaration. You will need to sign this each time you have a log entry. That is because you are declaring that you have done those hours. And then your supervisor, whoever is the instructor in the affiliated work placement studio, or an indirect supervisor can sign off those logged hours. So to find out more on your supervisor, indirect and direct, please visit the supervisor video that will be uploaded if not already. Who can sign off my teaching hours? There's a bit of clarification there, and again your pre-submission point. So then it goes into part 4, your observation log. You've got your your observation hours. Again, you would refer to the specs for that. And then there's a couple of examples there on how to fill out your observation hours. Down here, student signature and date is very important, and there's that pre-submission checkpoint just to make sure you've not missed anything. You've got part 5, your self-mastery. Again, there's some example log entries here on what to do and how to do it. And that's pretty self-explanatory. 1 hour of self-mastery per week over the unit of study. And again, your signature and date for your declarations there. Your checkpoint to make sure that everything's been submitted. And the final piece of the puzzle is your repertoire audit log. So mid-pathway check-in is really for you to go through and go, am I comfortable with this, am I not? Whether it's executing it or teaching it. The final end of pathway check is that you are comfortable executing and teaching the exercise. If for some reason that you have a contraindicated condition whereby you've got a medical condition, you're unable to teach a specific exercise, for example, even pregnancy or so forth, then you could write contraindicated in that column just to make sure that we're aware that that's not a movement that is safe for you. But we would hope that you're confident in teaching it at a minimum. And yeah, if you could indicate that, that would be good. So each one of those yeses do need to be complete in order for your repertoire log to be considered satisfactory. And then there's that pre-submission checkpoint at the end. So it is a big piece of work. We really encourage you to go through all the checkpoints and make sure everything is completed in full. If you are doing the Reformer logbook, it's very similar. There is no difference to the MAT one we just went through. If you're or when you're doing a small apparatus, it's the same, apart from we often have questions that ask if you're doing a dual pathway MAT and Reformer, what do you do with your small apparatus hours? And we've just put a little example note here on how you might distribute those hours. We don't mind if you want to do all of your small apps under your MAT course, all of them under the Reformer, so you need to do a total of your 25 or however many is listed on the knowledge-based library in your specs. And then if you would like to, though, you can split the hours across the two, but there is considerations around practical assessment and so forth. But read through that. That's very clear on what you can do there. Your fundamentals, if we go through that, it doesn't have observation. So it just has teaching and just has self-mastery. That is correct. You do not need to do that, and that is outlined in your little scope at the front there of the fundamentals book. And studio is very much the same to Matt and Reformer. So if you have any questions on this, we urge you to use the knowledge base articles, because it's very full of information that's extremely handy to the students, to you all, I should say. And you can access that at any time, so you don't have to wait to speak to a member of our team. But if something's still not clear, please feel free that you can reach out to student support Monday to Friday between 7:30 and 3:30 Australian Western Standard Time, and any member of our team will be able to answer any of your queries. Thank you so much for listening, and happy work placement.